The sun rose quietly over Earth just like any other day. People went to work, children went to school, and the world moved forward with its usual noise and routine. But far beyond the clouds, something was watching. High in orbit, a group of alien ships floated like shadows in the dark. They were the Orva, an advanced alien race that believed in conquest. The Orva had studied Earth for a long time. They thought humans were weak, divided, and not ready to fight back. So they made a choice. They attacked. The first blasts came without warning. From the skies, bright beams of energy shot down and hit Earth's cities. New York, Tokyo, London, and many more lit up with flames. Skyscrapers fell. Roads cracked. Millions were caught in the attack before anyone even understood what was happening. Panic spread across the globe. People screamed and ran. Governments called for calm, but communication systems were destroyed. Military bases were hit. Satellites stopped working. It was a nightmare. At a hidden command center deep underground in Colorado, a woman named Captain Lena Hayes watched the screens flash red. She was one of the top minds in global defense. Her job was to prepare for threats like this, but even she had never imagined something so fast, so brutal. "Status report," she shouted. "Multiple cities hit. We're blind in 3 continents. We have no way to track their fleet," a young officer replied, sweat on his forehead. Lena took a deep breath. She had trained her whole life for war, but this was beyond war. This was survival. The Orva didn't send messages. They didn't ask for surrender. They didn't speak at all. They just destroyed. Their ships moved like ghosts, striking from the sky and disappearing before anyone could fight back. Earth's weapons, missiles, and jets had no effect on their shields, but humans were not so easy to break. In the chaos, something happened that the Orva had not expected. Humans started to unite. Leaders from every country stopped their arguments and came together in emergency meetings. Scientists from rival nations began to share their knowledge. Military generals combined their forces. The old walls between people began to fall. Fear turned into purpose. In one of those meetings, Lena stood in front of the leaders and spoke clearly. "We can't fight them with what we have. Their technology is better, and they've planned this for years. But we can learn, we can adapt. That's what humans do best." There was silence for a moment. Then, slowly, heads nodded. The plan began. Around the world, hidden bunkers and science labs came to life. Every surviving satellite was reconnected. Engineers studied the alien energy patterns. Physicists searched for weak points in the Orva's shields. Linguists tried to understand alien symbols found on a damaged drone. Hackers tried to break into the Orva's systems. Days passed, then weeks. More cities fell, but fewer each time. Humans were learning. Captain Lena's team made a big discovery. They found that the Orva's ships used a kind of signal to talk to each other. It wasn't like radio. It was something stronger, something close to thought itself. The aliens were using a psychic network, a shared mind. If that network could be broken, the Orva would be blind and deaf. It was a long shot, but it was a chance. Lena gathered a team of the world's best scientists, engineers, and soldiers. They called themselves the Core. Together they built a device, a signal jammer that could block the Orva's mind link. It wasn't ready yet, but they were close. Meanwhile, the world fought on. Cities built shields from scrap metal and alien tech. Civilian pilots flew rescue missions into dangerous zones. Doctors worked day and night to save the wounded. Even children helped, sending messages of hope through underground radio stations. The Orva watched all this and were confused. They had seen humans fight each other for years. Wars, greed, power struggles. These things made humans look weak. But now, in the face of destruction, humanity was becoming something else. Something stronger. One night, as Lena stood on a balcony above the command center, she looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the enemy ships were floating, watching, waiting. A young soldier walked up to her. "Ma'am, why do you think they attacked us?" Lena looked at him and smiled sadly. Because they thought we were easy. They saw our fighting, our mistakes, our division. They thought we'd break, but they forgot one thing. What's that? We're human, we get back up. Deep underground in a hidden research facility in the Himalayas, the core team continued their work. The snow above kept the base quiet and hidden from the Orva. Here, Captain Lena Hayes led a group of scientists, soldiers, and thinkers who refused to give up. They worked day and night hoping to find something, anything that could help humanity fight back. One morning, Dr. Kiran Voss, a scientist from India, ran into the main lab holding a strange old book. His hands were shaking with excitement. "Captain Hayes," he said, "I think I found something ancient." Lena looked up from a large screen showing alien patterns. "What is it?" This book was found years ago during an excavation near the Indus Valley. It mentions strange lights in the sky and powerful beings from the stars. But here's the part that matters. It talks about humans who could speak with their minds, not words, thoughts. Lena's eyes narrowed. "Psychic abilities?" "Yes," Dr. Voss said. "Exactly. And not just that. The book speaks of a hidden place, a vault beneath the earth protected by a temple. I think it could be real." Lena stared at the map he unrolled on the table. There, drawn with ancient symbols, was a location, deep in the mountains of Central Asia. A few days later, a small team set out by helicopter and foot. Lena led them through freezing winds and dangerous cliffs. After a long and painful journey, they reached a cave that had been hidden by rockfalls and time. At the end of the cave stood a massive stone door covered in carvings, spirals, stars, and human figures with glowing eyes. "It looks like they knew about space." "Thousands of years ago," whispered Sergeant Malik, one of Lena's best soldiers. Dr. Voss nodded. "And maybe they left us something to use." With effort, the team opened the door. Inside was a chamber filled with glowing crystals, old stone, tablets, and machines made of materials no one could name. Strange energy filled the air. It hummed like a distant song, and each person felt it in their bones. As they explored, Lena touched one of the glowing stones. Suddenly, her mind filled with images, not visions, but feelings, memories from long ago. A civilization, older than recorded history, once lived on Earth. They were human but different, stronger in mind, wiser, and deeply connected to each other. They had fought the Orva once, long ago. The ancient humans had created powerful tools to resist the aliens, but, in the end, they were forced to hide their knowledge. They buried their secrets deep underground, hoping that future generations would find them when the time was right. Lena stepped back, breathing hard. "They left this for us," she whispered. "They knew we would need it one day." Back at Yo, the core base, the team studied the artifacts. The ancient crystals acted like amplifiers, tools that could boost brain signals. When connected with modern technology, they showed incredible results. Lena and her team began training, learning to focus their minds, to send thoughts without speaking. It started slow, simple things like colors, numbers, and shapes. But then, something strange happened. Lena and a few others started feeling each other's emotions. They knew when someone was afraid, calm, or thinking about a certain memory. Dr. Voss called it mental connection, a new type of communication, one that couldn't be hacked, jammed, or blocked. The team realized something powerful. The Orva were using a hive mind system. That's how they stayed fast and organized. But if humans could build their own mental network, even a small one, they could fight on the same level. Lena looked at the growing psychic network and said, "We're not just building weapons. We're becoming something new." Meanwhile, the Orva noticed the change. Their scouts reported strange energy readings from Earth. Their leaders, confused and angry, ordered a deeper scan of the planet. But what they saw shocked them. The human mind was evolving. The Orva had always believed humans were weak because they used machines, not thoughts. But now, with ancient knowledge and unity, Earth's people were becoming dangerous. The Orva had made a mistake. In the next weeks, Lena's team sent out messages to resistance groups across Earth. They shared the psychic training tools. Slowly, more and more people began to learn. In cities and forests, bunkers and camps, people trained their minds like soldiers trained their bodies. Children were especially good at it. They learned fast, their minds open and unafraid. In a small camp in Brazil, a 12-year-old girl sent a message to Lena's team across the world, without a device. It was the first long-distance thought transmission by a civilian. Hope returned. The alien attacks still came, but now Earth was fighting back. Urva drones were crashing more often. Their fleet became slower to respond. Something was breaking their control, and it was coming from inside Earth itself. One night, as Lena sat with Dr. Voss watching the stars, he asked her a question. "Do you think we're becoming like them?" Lena shook her head. "No, they use power to control. We use power to protect, that's the difference," he smiled. "And that's why we might just win." The wind was cold across the plains of Canada, but Captain Lena Hayes didn't feel it. She stood outside the Corps' mobile command station, eyes locked on the sky. Somewhere above the clouds, Urva warships floated in silence, watching the world below like silent judges. But Earth was no longer afraid. It had been 3 months since Lena and her team discovered the ancient psychic technology hidden in the mountains. Since then, everything had changed. The old human weapons were still weak against the Urva, but the new mental network was growing stronger each day. The Corps' experiments had created a system called Mind Grid, a psychic link that allowed humans to think together, move together, and fight as one. With Mind Grid, Earth no longer fought with just guns and missiles. It now had something more powerful: unity of thought. In a bunker below, Dr. Kieran Voss adjusted a set of crystal amplifiers. On the table nearby, 6 soldiers sat in silence, eyes closed, breathing slowly. Their minds were connected through the Mind Grid, preparing for a new type of battle, one not fought with hands, but with focus. "These 6 can enter an Urva ship without touching a weapon," Dr. Voss said. "They can disrupt the alien hive mind and confuse their systems." Captain Lena nodded. "Then it's time for a real test." That night, the world saw its first real victory. A small squad, led by Sergeant Malik and supported by the Mind Grid, was sent to intercept a grounded Urva drone near the ruins of Berlin. The area was dangerous, filled with alien machines and old rubble, but they moved with calm precision. As they got closer, the Urva drone activated. Its shields came up. It fired warning blasts into the air. But then something strange happened. The squad stood still, eyes glowing slightly from the Mind Grid connection. Together they sent a powerful wave of thought, sharp, clear, and focused, directly into the drone's signal system. The drone paused. It shook. Then it fell to the ground, completely shut down. The squad retrieved the alien tech and returned without a single shot fired. The mission was broadcast secretly to all major resistance zones. Hope turned into belief. Soon, more teams were trained in psychic warfare. They called themselves Mind Guardians. With each mission, they brought down more Urva machines. They didn't just destroy them, they learned from them. Engineers studied the fallen parts, copied energy cores, and made new devices. Earth's technology began to evolve. The world was changing fast. In a lab in South Korea, human scientists built the Echo Pulse, a weapon that sent focused brainwave signals through special crystals. It could disable Urva drones from miles away. In Africa, children trained in mental coordination were helping lead supply drops across war zones. In Europe, survivors rebuilt old cities using mental communication to guide workers faster than ever. Even Earth's leaders, once divided by politics and greed, now worked together through a limited Mind Grid link. Language barriers were falling. Decisions were made faster. Enemies had become allies. Humanity wasn't just surviving now, it was winning. But the Urva noticed. In their great ship above Earth's orbit, the alien commanders watched with growing fear. Their hive mind, once silent and controlled, now buzzed with confusion. Human thought signals were infecting their systems. Urva soldiers were feeling things they never felt before: hesitation, fear, even guilt. One Urva scout ship refused to fire on a group of civilians. Another crashed after its pilot became overwhelmed by human emotions. For the first time in centuries, the Urva were afraid. Their leader, known only as the Overseer, called an emergency meeting. "We must act now," the Overseer hissed. "The humans have touched something forbidden. Their minds are becoming weapons. We will send the judgment ship." A giant vessel hidden behind the moon powered up. Its purpose was clear: total destruction. Back on Earth, Lena was reviewing new mission data when an urgent alert came in. A Mind Guardian scout had sensed a massive energy signal from the far side of the moon. Lena's eyes narrowed. "They're preparing something big." Dr. Voss looked pale. "If they send their judgment ship, it won't be an attack, it'll be extinction." Lena stood up. "Then we stop them before they start." A new plan was formed: Operation Skyheart. Using both technology and mind grid, Earth's united forces would launch their first counterstrike. A stealth fleet of advanced jets, protected by psychic shielding, would fly into low orbit. Their mission: reach the moon, find the judgment ship, and destroy its control systems. Captain Lena insisted on joining the mission herself. "This isn't just war anymore," she told her team. "This is a message. They hit Earth first, but we will make sure they never fight a war again." The journey to the moon was tense. Lena sat in the lead craft, eyes closed, connected to the mind grid. Around her, pilots and soldiers sat in silence, their thoughts linked like one great mind. As the ships passed the dark side of the moon, the giant judgment ship came into view. It was monstrous, shaped like a floating fortress with energy, weapons the size of cities, but the humans didn't stop. They moved in close. Using thought to guide their actions, they avoided the defenses. Some used the echo pulse to short out cannons. Others sent mind signals deep into the ship's hive mind system. Inside, the alien crew panicked. Their connection to the Overseer broke. Their controls froze. Fear spread like wildfire. At the center of the judgment ship, Lena placed a crystal device. She activated it with a single powerful thought: "We are not your prey. We are your end." Ship lit up with blue light, then fell dark. Systems failed. Engines stopped. The ship began to drift. Earth had won its first battle in space. As Lena and her team returned, people across Earth looked up at the stars. For the first time, they didn't feel small. They felt ready. The judgment ship was dead. It floated above the moon like a broken giant, its lights gone and its power silenced. On Earth, cheers rang out across cities, camps, and bunkers. For the first time since the war began, humanity had struck a real blow to the enemy. But deep down, Captain Lena Hayes knew the fight wasn't over. Inside the core base, Lena stood before a large screen showing movement in Earth's orbit. Urva ships were gathering again, more than ever before. "They're angry," said Dr. Voss, adjusting the satellite feed. "They lost one of their strongest weapons. They won't run. They'll come with everything they have." Lena didn't blink. "Then we stop them, all of them, one last time." Across the world, humans prepared for the final battle. Every surviving country sent troops, pilots, and engineers. The mind grid was now global, connecting over 1 million trained users. From children sending alerts to soldiers guiding missions, everyone had a role. In space, Earth's engineers had built something new: the Sentinel Ring, a massive energy field circling Earth's upper orbit. Powered by psychic crystals and solar energy, it could block alien signals and shield the planet. But it wasn't finished, and the Urva were coming. High above, hidden behind Mars, the Urva fleet activated. Hundreds of ships, dark and sharp-like daggers, began their journey toward Earth. Inside the lead vessel, the Overseer watched a map of Earth covered in blue energy. "These humans, they change too fast," the Overseer said, voice cold. "Their minds are like fire, wild, dangerous." Another commander spoke. Shall we destroy them now? The overseer nodded. No more warnings. No more waiting. We end Earth. We erase everything. The Orva fleet turned toward Earth, faster than any missile, and carried enough firepower to melt the surface of the planet. Back on Earth, Lena met with her team inside the core war room. A huge digital table showed the countdown. 36 hours until the Orva fleet arrived. We can't fight them ship to ship, said General Park, leader of the Asia-Pacific Resistance. Even with the mind grid, they outnumber us. But we can trap them, Lena replied. She pointed to the moon. We still have the judgment ship. We control it now. It may be broken, but its systems can be reprogrammed. If we pull the Orva fleet close enough, we can use the ship's gravity engines and psychic core to collapse part of their fleet. General Park frowned. That's risky. Lena nodded. So is doing nothing. The plan was simple but bold. Earth would pretend to surrender. A false signal would be sent using the mind grid, asking for peace. The message would look real, emotional, honest, desperate. The Orva, confident in their power, would move in close to Earth. At the last moment, the judgment ship would activate a pulse powered by human thought. This would create a wave strong enough to shut down part of the enemy fleet. Then, Earth's forces would strike. The final stand. 30 hours later, the Orva reached Earth's orbit. Their ships filled the sky, like a storm. Civilians looked up in fear and wonder. Some cried, some prayed. Some held hands in silence. Lena stood aboard Earth's newest battle station, Unity 1, floating near the Sentinel Ring. She wore a light suit lined with crystal threads that boosted psychic strength. Around her were mind guardians, elite humans, trained for mental combat. Send the message, Lena said. The signal went out, filled with emotions of pain, sadness, and a fake request for peace. It was meant to feel real. The Orva read it. The overseer laughed. Look at them, begging, like they always do. The fleet moved closer. Inside the dead judgment ship, now hidden in the moon's shadow, Dr. Voss and a small team activated the ancient engines. The ship groaned and hummed. Old systems came alive. The psychic core began to glow. Back on Unity 1, Lena closed her eyes and connected fully to the mind grid. We begin now. A silent message passed from her to every fighter on Earth. Stand, fight, win. The judgment ship released the energy pulse. A massive shockwave of thought and gravity spread through space. Orva ships near the center began to shake. Their hive mind broke for a moment. Pilots lost control. Weapons powered down. Lena gave the order. Attack. From Earth's surface, thousands of jets, drones, and orbital weapons launched. The Sentinel Ring lit up and shot beams of psychic energy into the enemy lines. Mind Guardians joined the battle mentally, confusing Orva pilots, turning their ships against each other. The sky was fire and light. Earth was fighting back. The Overseer screamed as his ship spun out of control. They used our own power. Against us, one of his captains shouted. We must retreat. No, the Overseer roared. We burn this planet, all of it. He activated a forbidden weapon inside his ship, a black core that could destroy the entire planet. But Lena felt it through the mind grid. She saw it in a flash. She turned to her team. He's going to destroy Earth. We stop him now. Lena flew toward the Overseer's ship in a small, fast pod. Alone. The mind grid helped guide her, protected her, and gave her strength. She entered the alien vessel through a broken vent. Inside, strange lights blinked. The black core was glowing. The Overseer stood there, tall and monstrous. You're just a human, he said. Lena raised her hand. Her eyes glowed. I'm not alone. Behind her, the minds of millions stood strong. The mind grid poured energy into her. Thoughts became weapons. Hope became power. With one final push, Lena sent a wave of pure human will into the core. It shattered. The Overseer screamed and fell. Outside, the Orva fleet saw their leader fall. Their hive mind cracked. Ships turned and fled. The sky cleared. Earth had won. Back on the ground, people looked up and smiled. They had survived the impossible. They had changed, evolved, and stood together. Humanity had become more than it was. As Lena returned tired but alive, she looked at the stars. They hit Earth first, she whispered, but now, they'll never fight a war again. The war was not over yet. The Urva had been defeated in battle, their judgment ship destroyed and their fleet driven back. But deep in the darkness of space, their empire was still alive. Earth had shown strength, but that strength had now made them a bigger target. Captain Lena Hayes stood at the edge of Earth's orbital station Unity 1, staring out at the stars. Earth had won the last fight, but she knew the Urva were watching, planning. They would return. But next time, humanity would be ready. Across Earth, the world had changed. People had seen what the human mind could do. The mind grid had connected. Millions. The crystals from the ancient vaults had awakened something hidden inside humanity, a power older than memory. Humans had started to evolve. In a special research facility in the Sahara Desert, Lena and Dr. Kieran Voss were working on something new. It was called Project Ascension, a way to unlock the full potential of the human brain using crystal energy and focused thought. We used to think we only used 10% of our brain, Dr. Voss explained, checking data. But it's not about how much. We were using the wrong parts. The crystals are showing us how to unlock the parts made for mental connection, energy focus, and deep memory. Lena nodded. We're not building a weapon. We're becoming one. Soon the first test subject was ready. His name was Aaron Clay, a rescue pilot who had lost his team during the first Urva attack. He had joined the Corps, trained as a mind guardian, and volunteered for Project Ascension. Aaron lay on a glowing table surrounded by crystal amplifiers. As the energy rose, his heart rate stayed calm. His mind opened wider than ever before. He began to float. Everyone watched in silence as his body lifted off the table, surrounded by a soft blue light. Then something incredible happened. Aaron's thoughts became visible. His memories, his pain, his courage, all flowed like light above him. He was the first human weapon. With Aaron's success, more volunteers stepped forward. Some were soldiers, some were teachers, some were even children. Each one was tested, trained, and guided. They didn't just learn to fight, they learned to think together, feel together, act together. The world began to call them the Ascended. They could fly without machines, block energy blasts with thought shields, and even repair damage with focused willpower. But most importantly, they could reach into the Urva's hive mind and break it from the inside. One night, Lena sat with Aaron Clay near the edge of the training facility. The desert sky above them was full of stars. "Do you feel different?" Lena asked. Aaron smiled. "I don't feel stronger. I feel more human, like I finally understand what we're meant to be. More than just a species," she said. "A force." But peace was short. A message came from deep space. A weak signal from a friendly alien race. The Nareen, who had been watching Earth's fight. Their message was simple but chilling. The Urva Empire is calling all their warlords. They are preparing for total war. Earth must strike first or be destroyed. Lena called a meeting of Earth's united leaders. "We have a choice," she said. "We wait and get attacked again, or we carry the fight to them. We don't conquer, we don't destroy, we stop the war before it begins." After hours of debate, the world agreed. Humanity would go to space, not to escape, but to defend everything they loved. Within months, Earth's engineers, builders, and thinkers created a new kind of fleet. Powered by crystal energy and guided by mind grid pilots, the ships were faster, lighter, and smarter than anything ever made. The Ascended would lead the fleet. At the heart of the command ship, Lena stood in a white suit lined with glowing lines. Her eyes reflected starlight, and her mind was already connected to thousands of others. "This is not revenge," she said during her final speech. "This is protection. For our world. For every world the Urva has hurt. We're not just defending Earth, we're defending the future." As the fleet launched, people across Earth watched in silence, For the first time, humans weren't looking at the stars with fear or wonder. They were rising to meet them. Meanwhile, in the Urva home system, the Empire was readying their final weapon, the Black Mind Core, a device that could erase all thought, in a planet's atmosphere, leaving behind only silence. The Overseer's replacement, Warlord Inzar, was cold and brutal. He had seen what humans did to the last fleet. They turned thought into power, he growled. We turn power into death. Let them come. We will crush their spirit. But he didn't know that Earth's spirit had changed forever. As the human fleet reached the edge of Urva space, they stopped. Lena sent one final message through the stars. We don't want to rule. We don't want to destroy. But we will never bow. We are human, and we are here. The Urva laughed. Then the sky lit up. Urva. Ships rushed forward. Missiles, lasers, and psychic attacks filled space, but humanity was ready. The Ascended flew ahead of the fleet like living comets. Aaron Clay raised his hands and created a wall of thought so strong it shattered half the enemy's front line. Others followed, piercing through enemy shields, breaking their formation. Human ships moved like lightning, guided by the mind grid. No shouting, no confusion, just unity. In the middle of the battle, Lena faced Warlord Inzar's flagship. You are not gods, she said through the mind grid. And you, he growled, are just animals. Lena's eyes shone. No, we're something new. The battle was over. As the last Urva ship fell from the sky, its engines exploding into a burst of light, the stars went silent. The space around Earth, once filled with weapons and ships, was now calm. The last of the Urva fleet had been defeated, but there were no celebrations, no loud cheers. The humans who had fought the battle remained still, floating in space as if waiting for something more than victory. They were not conquerors. They were protectors. Captain Lena Hayes stood on the bridge of the command ship Unity 1, looking out at the stars. Her heart was heavy, not with the weight of war, but with the knowledge that humanity had become something more. The victory over the Urva wasn't just a win for Earth, it was a new beginning for the entire galaxy. On Earth, the news spread quickly. Every continent, every city, every village, people saw the same thing. The Urva fleet was gone. The dark clouds of war had cleared. The leaders of the United Earth government gathered in a massive hall in New York. Around the world, people watched as the representatives of Earth's nations came together. We have won, Lena said, standing before them, her voice calm but full of purpose. But we must not forget what this victory means. It's not just a victory over the Urva. It's a victory for all of us. For the humans who have died, for those who fought, and for those who will come after us. She paused and looked at the people in the room. We have proven something. We are not weak. We are not just survivors. We are now a new kind of species. We are a force that will protect not just Earth, but the future of the galaxy. We will never allow another war like this to happen again. The next few days were spent in recovery. Earth's people worked together, rebuilding cities, reconnecting communities, and strengthening their resolve. Humanity had faced a challenge unlike any before, and now they stood stronger than ever. In the weeks that followed, Earth reached out to other planets and species that had been touched by the Urva's cruelty. The Nareen, who had warned Earth of the Urva's plans, were the first to make contact. They came in peace, offering help in rebuilding and forming new alliances. Lena sat in a small meeting room with their leaders. The Nareen were an advanced species, peaceful and wise, their bodies thin and ethereal, like beings made of light. We have watched you, one of the Nareen elders said. You have shown strength, intelligence, and something even more rare, unity. It is not often that a species like yours emerges. We offer you our knowledge and our friendship. Lena nodded. We are not just asking for help. We want to work with you. Together we can ensure no species will ever try to destroy what humanity has built. Months passed, and Earth's influence began to grow. The Ascended, humans who had unlocked their full mental potential, continued to train. Their abilities became even more refined. They could now communicate across vast distances with nothing but their thoughts. Their powers were used not for war but for peace, healing, helping, and guiding those in need. The new human fleet, with the technology they had recovered from the Orva and their own innovations, became the peacekeepers of the galaxy. They patrolled the stars, making sure that no species could threaten the fragile peace humanity had created. But Lena knew that the true strength of Earth wasn't in its weapons or its technology. It was in the people. It was in the unity they had found. People who once fought for power, for land, for money, now worked together. They shared knowledge, resources, and ideas. Earth was no longer divided by borders. It was a single, unified planet, focused on survival, not destruction. A year after the battle, Lena stood on Earth's surface, looking out at a new horizon. The skyline of New York had changed. There were no more towering warships. There were no more weapons pointed toward the stars. Instead, Earth had become a beacon, a shining example of what was possible when people worked together, when they trusted each other, and when they used their power not for war, but for peace. She watched as the first interstellar ambassador ship landed, carrying representatives from the Nareen, the Tsar, and other peaceful civilizations. They had come to discuss trade, knowledge, and a new way forward, a way that didn't involve war. Lena turned to her team, the members of the Corps, who stood beside her. "We did it," Sergeant Malik said, a smile on his face. "Yes, we did," Lena replied softly. "But it's not just us, it's everyone. Humanity has shown the galaxy what we're capable of. And we will never stop building, never stop learning, and never stop protecting." As the ambassadors stepped off their ships, Lena stepped forward to meet them. The future of humanity was no longer just about survival. It was about creating a lasting peace, helping others, and ensuring that Earth would never again be the target of an alien war. "We've fought," Lena said to the ambassadors, "but we will not fight anymore. Our new strength is in our unity. We will defend peace, protect life, and help build a future for everyone. This is the new era." The Nareen elder smiled. "We have watched you, humans. You are truly a rare species, and we believe you are ready for the stars." And so the human race began its new chapter. No longer just a species fighting to survive, Earth had become a force for peace in the galaxy. Its people, strong, united, and determined, set out to build a future where no one would ever again threaten the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. For humanity had learned the greatest lesson of all, that true strength comes not from destruction, but from the ability to protect, to understand, and to work together for a common goal. And as Lena stood watching the stars once again, she knew that the future was bright. Not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. The age of war was over. The age of peace had begun.